Hi everyone, I was recently on a flight between Phoenix, Arizona and Atlanta, and I was sitting just in front of a small child. The row behind me, there was a mom, a little girl and the father. And for takeoff and landing, we were about to land, and for landing the little girl had to be belted, of course, and she began to scream. But what I saw next really broke my heart. So instead of comforting her with love, the mother raised her voice and became even emotionally harsh. The energy really turned from, you could hear the scream of the child, and it wasn't defiance, it was fear, clearly fear. The girl didn't understand why she had to be belted. But instead of meeting her with compassion and kindness and explaining to her playfully why this belt had to be fastened for landing, the mother's energy really turned strict, and it moved me almost to tears. So commands barked like orders. Suddenly you could hear the voice of the mother, angry mother, that was trying to actually dominate her child. But you know, loud voices do not help fearing children. Children that are in fear, they become even more fearful if the voice of a mother or a father turns loud and violent against the child when the child is in terror. So the child, of course, it didn't calm down. The screaming became worse. So what I saw then really, it was a very tense moment, and for me it was hard to see because the mother started to, she put her arm around the child, but not as she wanted to hug her. She was actually squeezing it against her, and the seatbelt was hurting the girl at her leg base, there where it was belted, and the girl started screaming even more. And Dad behind, I saw that he was quiet. He was trying a different way. So the mother couldn't calm the child down, of course not, and you might see why. Fear, when a parent forces dominance over a child or control, you know, the mother's response, of course, was fear as well, but it was fear disguised as control. So she was trying to control the child instead of meeting it with loving compassion. So at one point I couldn't bear this situation anymore, and I turned around and I tried to lock eyes with that little girl in between seats, and our eyes locked for a moment, and I was just looking at her with a lot of compassion and softness and kindness, and I said, I know, my darling, I know that hurts, I know you don't want that. You know what, it's just for landing. It's not gonna last long, my darling, and you're safe. You're safe. Mommy's here, Daddy's here. You're safe, my darling. And then I felt like her dad adopted the same tone in a way. So when our eyes locked, the little girl's eyes and my eyes, when we were looking at each other, I could feel that she was calming down. I'm gonna make a separate video about panic attacks. So if you are interested, or you have been someone to deal with panic attacks, stay on the watch for my next video. This is where I'm gonna talk about it. So I locked eyes with the girl, and I was murmuring kind and compassionate words. And at one point, Mommy stopped. She took her arm off her and just looked at her, but she looked at her very cold, very emotionless. Her face was just like dead almost. And Daddy was starting to kind of like speak softer to her, but it still didn't help. So every time I turned around, when I looked forward again, I heard the girl screaming. So this is a message for all parents out there. I know you're tired. I know you're overwhelmed. I know parenting is overwhelming. But remember that if you are harsh, this is not about blame, first of all, for every parent. This is a video, this video really is a reminder that we have the choice to respond to our children in a different way that maybe we have been raised at. So maybe you as a mother, you know, you have still been raised with a loud voice or dominance or control from an uncompassionate parent or an overwhelmed or a tired parent. And if that's the case, please do not project the same behavior on your child, because it doesn't help the child. Fear doesn't make the child grow in a healthy way. It makes them smaller on the inside, and it makes them feel ashamed. So when I actually turned around and I locked eyes with the girl and she calmed down, I felt like she calmed down because she finally felt like maybe someone saw her, and not as a problem to fix, but as a soul to hold. And that's what children need. So whenever a child is in fear, beloved parent, they don't need your power. They don't need your dominance. They don't need your loud voice. What they need is your compassionate awareness, your compassionate presence. So the next time you hear your child screaming or crying out in terror because there's something that she doesn't understand, remember, she's just a child. He's just a child. They don't know why streets are dangerous. They don't know what cars can do to human beings. Or they don't understand why they need to have the seatbelt fastened. It makes them feel tight. They want to be loose. They want to be playful. They're about to explore the world. Try be compassionate with your child. Put yourself in their shoes. What would you need in that moment? You know? So the next time you, beloved parent, are about to raise your voice against your child and trying to, you know, hush it down with dominance or control, raise your awareness, raise your presence, and raise your just loving being with the child, and see what it has to tell you. And I'm sure that there's ways to turn every situation around. So let's just imagine a world where every child is being grown with compassion and fear and love, and there is no loud voices anymore, or no parents in fear anymore, or no parents that are trying to control their children anymore, or maybe a single parent that is overwhelmed. Remember that your child is the future. Do you really want a violent future? A child that is growing up with aggression inside because she has never been understood? Please think twice. You have the choice now what to do. And always put yourself into the shoes of your child first. What would you need in that moment? Would you need a loud parent that is even violent with you, or beating you, or, you know, raising their voice against you to hush you down? Or would you need someone that is holding your soul, that is understanding you deeply, that is there with you, present, that is breathing with you? What would you need, parent? So this was my kind invitation to all parents out there, and for you, beloved soul who is watching this video. My name is Doris Victoria Kessler. I'm your soul empowerment and conscious millionaire coach, and this is my personal empowerment channel. Thank you for being here. Remember to raise children with love and kindness and awareness, and most of all, compassion. Because the world that we are creating, we have the choice, as I said, as parents, as adults, we have the choice how we respond to everything that we see in the world. Not only our children crying, everything that we see in the world, it is our choice on how we want to respond. Do you want to respond with harshness, violence, dominance, fear, control? Or do you want a world where children are allowed to express their brilliance, where children are feeling safe because they are held by parents that are compassionately holding them, knowing them, understanding them, or at least trying to understand them? So think twice, please, the next time that you're about to raise your voice again a kind reminder to raise your presence and your compassionate awareness. All my love to you, and I'll see you in the next video. For all of you who know a young parent or who have a friend that is raising a little human, or even for all of you who are planning to have children, or if you have friends that are planning to have kids in the future, please share this video in abundance. Let's create more compassionate awareness on this planet towards children and their needs. And let's get rid of this old kind of like military drill, this strictness that is turning humans into very small, you know, how can I say, almost automatic robots inside, feelingless robots. That's not what the world needs. We need more compassion on this planet, more love. So, and love starts the way you're growing your own child, you're raising your own child. And it also starts in a way that you treat yourself. So, if you're kind to your child, remember that you're being kind to yourself. If you are unkind to your child, remember that you are just being unkind with yourself. So again, all my love and bye for now.